right?
Oh,
So,
boy.
we're not exactly sure why, but
Meeting
we're good to
over?
go.
We're done.
All right, all right, let's go home.
Problem solving right there.
That was amazing,
To
Bill.
adjourn. It was really great.
All right,
We haven't even opened it.
that's fine. Good evening. I'd like to call the school committee meeting from Tuesday, April 29th, 2025 to order. We're meeting at Town Hall in Meeting Room 1. We're also on Area 58 and also live on Google Meets. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, that'd be great. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So there is one member of the committee this evening, Bill Cullum, who is remote. Since we have one member of the committee who is remote, all of our votes will have to be taken via roll call votes. And Bill is joining us via Google Meets and also over the phone link. So Bill can hear what's happening in the room. So at this time, I'd like to start the meeting by taking nominations for chairperson. We start with our annual school committee reorganization after town elections.
Aye.
And go ahead.
I nominate Stephanie Clarity.
I second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second for Stephanie Clarity as chairperson of the school committee. Roll call vote. Jackie Lake.
Jackie Lake, aye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
All right, so with the committee electing Stephanie Clarity as the chairperson, I will turn the gavel over to her and she can take over the meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so next we need to have a nomination for vice chair.
I'll nominate Kelly Nemi.
I'll second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Jackie Lake, aye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent. Next we have recording secretary. Nominate Kate.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Roll call vote.
Who was nominated?
Me.
Who was nominated?
I was. Katie.
Oh, okay.
I know, I didn't quite hear it at first
I was
either.
worried it was me for a second.
No.
That's what happens when you're not in the room, Bill.
Jackie Lake, aye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent. So now we need to do subcommittees. So first on our list is policy. I know it's been Kelly and I for a while now. So if someone would like to make a motion to nominate two people for policy.
I nominate Stephanie Clarity and Kelly Nemi to the policy subcommittee.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake, aye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent. Next we have superintendent's evaluation. That has also been myself and Kelly.
I will nominate Stephanie Clarity and Kelly Nemi.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jackie.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake, aye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent. Next, we have Capital Outlay Committee, which was Jackie for this past year.
Does anybody have?
Does
I
anyone?
nominate Jackie Lake.
Okay.
Okay, second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake, aye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Okay, next we have Student Advisory Committee, which has been myself and Katie.
I nominate Stephanie Clarity and Katie Sullivan.
A second.
We have a motion and a second for, did you hear it, Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake, aye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent.
This is a new one?
Athletic policy,
We
yeah.
had it last year and it was Bill and Kelly, I think.
I think so. Did
Or
you-
was it
did
Bill
you-
and Stephanie?
It might have been Bill. Yeah, it was Bill and me.
It was Bill and
Because,
Stephanie. Oh, sorry about
we
that.
met.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
We met
Yeah,
once
it
to
was-
review the
it was Bill-
handbook.
it was Bill
Yeah, we
and
met
myself,
once in the
because
fall.
We met when Kelsey first came on and she
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
voting to redo that,
Was
so.
it?
We redid the handbook, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
Yep.
specifically it wasn't Kelly.
Yeah. I
I
think
do enough to that poor woman.
So it was Bill and Stephanie, sorry. I
I think
apologize.
we should I'm not sure if we'll have a need for it this year, but I think while we're voting them, we should just keep it in case something comes up. So if someone else wants to be on it, you are more than welcome.
Nope.
So if someone would like to make
I move that
nomination.
we nominate Stephanie Clardy and Bill Collins.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call
Jackie
vote.
Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
McCollum, aye.
Okay, so next we have negotiations. Teachers is typically chair and vice chair, so myself and Kelly.
Okay, I nominate myself and Stephanie Clardy for the teachers' negotiations.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
McCollum, aye.
Okay, next we have ESPs, which has been Katie and Jackie.
Okay. I nominate Katie Sullivan and Jackie Lake for the ESP negotiations.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Okay, next week.
McCollum, aye.
Thank you, Bill. Bringing up the rear. Next we have custodians, which has been Jackie and Bill.
I nominate Jackie Lake and Bill Collins. to
I
the
will
custodian.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Oh, sorry, Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
McCollum, aye.
Feels like it's June. This feels like it should be our June meeting.
Really, it does.
Sorry. Okay, so next we have food service, which has also been Jackie and Bill.
Okay.
I nominate Jackie and Bill to do food service negotiations.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
McCollum, aye.
Excellent. Next we have secretaries, which has been myself and Katie.
I nominate Stephanie and Kate.
Aye. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye. Oh, that's me.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
McCollum, aye.
Okay, next we have bus drivers, which has been Kelly Mimi.
I'll do it again. I love the bus drivers. They're great.
Okay, would someone make a motion?
I will make a motion that Stephanie,
Nope.
oh, Kelly
Kelly.
Mimi is for bus drivers.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
What's my name? Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
McCollum, aye.
Excellent. Okay, next is legislative liaison, which has been myself. If someone else would like to do that, feel free.
It's all you.
It's all you. I nominate Stephanie Clardy for legislative liaison.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
McCollum, aye.
Excellent. Okay, so next we have appointing authority for Old Colony Regional District School Committee. So the chair serves as ex officio. It has also been Bill and Jackie.
Okay. I move that we nominate Stephanie Clardy, Bill Collum, and Jackie Lake.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Excellent.
McCollum, aye.
Thank you. Okay, so we have made it through all of the nominations for reorganization. Congratulations, everyone. I think
Thank
that was
you.
quite an accomplishment. Okay, so next we have comments from the general public. If either of you would like to speak, you're more than welcome to. If there's anyone online, which
At
I
least
don't
we're having
believe
fun.
there is.
Yeah, there's no one online
No one
this evening.
online. Okay, so there's no one to ask to enter the chat to be recognized. Okay, so moving right along, we are going to go on to the approval of minutes for the April 7th, 2025 open session minutes.
I move that we approve the April 7th, 2025 open session minutes.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
McCollum, aye.
Are there any communications this
No
evening?
communications this evening.
Okay, excellent. So that brings us to reports from the superintendent and personnel updates.
Okay, so we have had some personnel movement since last time we met 3 weeks ago. We're excited to announce that we've hired 3 elementary teachers who are replacing our retirements for next year. So our new hires are Julie Grosinger, teacher elementary school for next school year, Hayden Roach as a teacher at the elementary school for next school year, and Erin Nichols as a teacher at the elementary school for next school year. We also have a couple transfers. So Maureen Shurkis will be moving from office clerk to administrative assistant. and Bonnie Moran from Adjustment Counselor in the ACE GAP program at the middle high school to the special education teacher of the ACE GAP program at the middle high school. So that's a one-year appointment based on some things that are moving in terms of someone who's taking extended maternity leave. And then we've had 2 retirements, Gail Swanstrom, ESP at pre-K, and also Jean Tappan, ESP at the elementary school. Gail's at the effective end of the school year. Jean is actually at the end of the month on May 30th. And finally, sad to announce that Dr. Meredith Erickson, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, has submitted her resignation officially as of 6/30/2025. Meredith, certainly we're going to miss you and your hard work. It's been tremendous. Really enjoy. I know this is the end. We're going to meet a few more times. We're going to spend a lot of time together. But we did want to make a public announcement that Meredith has taken another position in a different district.
Congratulations.
Yes, we will miss you. Congratulations.
Oh, she's stuck with us until June. So.
Right? Lots of fun to be had between now and then.
Oh, of course.
So that brings us to Dr. Erickson and an update on the CMHS pathways.
Thank you.
All right, let me pull up the presentation. A second.
If I talk through this, I just want to make sure that Bill can hear me.
I'm good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
1 second. I'm almost there. Let's see if Bill can see the presentation. There we go.
Thank you.
All right, we should be good to go.
Great. All right. So I wanted to give kind of an annual touch point on where we are with our pathways. And you may notice at the bottom we have the logos that we have had over the past couple of years, but we've added a lime green clean energy logo. And that's because we are one of the first districts in the state to pilot the clean energy pathway, which again, for innovation career pathways, the state designates options for us. So I'll be talking about that in just a second. So big picture itinerary of what I want to cover tonight is just to remind people of why we embed future ready education, especially at the high school level, and talk about progress with our pathways, and then how we have kind of scaled up our student showcase, and then to end with MyCap and interdisciplinary opportunities. So to anchor all of that work, when we think about Future Ready, we think about our school's vision of the graduate, which was part of our NEASC experience. And you see here in the graphic that there are 6 characteristics that we try to cultivate through all of our classes so that students can leave being critical thinkers, global citizens, responsible individuals, healthy humans, collaborative teammates, and effective communicators, which will arm them with the skills needed to be nimble, whether they go on to college or career, and be successful. So all of our work is anchored within that. And then this year, our priorities for our pathways had less to do with developing courses. We're in a pretty good place with that in the majority of our pathways, but it was really to kind of expand our focus and say, if we're constructing these future ready learning opportunities, how are we looking at some of the things that are happening in the industry? And one of the things that we've talked about is we're great at teaching, but we aren't necessarily aware in a firsthand sense of what industry looks like, nor do we understand how AI and technology and the political climate and the, all of those different pieces kind of come together and impact industry. So we challenged each pathway this year to go out and to explore different businesses and industries in the region, and then to reach out to a couple of them, each pathway, reach out to 2 or 3, and find ways that you might be able to learn more about the industry, and that can help craft your curriculum and create these future ready learning opportunities, and then also to give students some firsthand kind of face-to-face experience. And it can be virtual, it could be an opportunity for folks to come in and talk, it could be a field trip, that sort of thing. So that was really one of the main foci of the year. And then the other one was to kind of scale up how we do student showcases. And that included expanding not only our local community's understanding of pathways, but really even internally within the school. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Christine Cabral, the middle high school principal, because she dedicated one of our professional development half days to having the students in each pathway go through and talk about what they're learning. And she took every department in the school and had them rotate throughout so that every teacher was able to experience every pathway, whether they taught in it or not. And she had a lot of positive feedback from teachers. Many came back and said this was the best PD that we've had in a long time because the students were doing the teaching. We had some teachers say we had no idea that, this was the level of rigor that our students were involved with. And really, a secondary or even a tertiary benefit of doing this is we wanted teachers to be able to see what students are doing and then to see who's doing it, which students are involved. So we made sure that even students that didn't present on that day, that teachers had access to see which students were in those classes, because if they could then pull that into their content area or make reference to that, it's just increasing the amount of relevance that we can have when it comes to teaching our own content areas. So that was the intention of that. So I'm going to go through and give a quick update on enrollment in each of the pathways. Per usual, I'm listing the courses in the progression for the pathway and then the skills thread, but I'm going to let you read those as I talk, and instead I really want to highlight some of those pieces that I mentioned earlier. So the tie to business and industry, and then the connection to showcasing our students. So this year for biotech, one of the key drivers of change was the fact that we were able to successfully get the Mass Life Sciences grant. I presented on that, I think, back in the fall, but it was close to $50,000 to buy equipment and to get professional development for biotech. And so these pictures here show some of the work that our students are doing, but we have very up-to-date scientific equipment that has helped propel our genetics exploration and that the whole lab technique piece of what our biotech teachers are doing. And one of the key pieces is we've connected with an organization called Mass Bioed. So they've provided some professional development. They've also been able to work with our students. So even this afternoon they were in, and I just took the poster up there, doing a murder mystery experience. So they had 16 high schoolers. It was a gorgeous day outside, and I went up there. They were fully engaged and enthralled, and all of them had the opportunity to try to solve a murder mystery, a whodunit, based on samples of hair and that sort of thing and DNA that had been left at the crime scene. And it was nice because there was even an ethical component to it where you could easily misinterpret the data and kind of pin the blame on the wrong person. So there was a little bit of debate about that. It brought up a question about Karen Reed. We're not going to discuss that here, but it was great because it really lent a lot of relevance to why genetics and forensics work. And so this is like firsthand example of something that they're doing, but Mass Bioed has been in to also talk about how genetics can drive nutrition and all sorts of different ways that genetics are being used in labs around the Commonwealth. Then we'll move to computer science, and computer science has, again, maintained the same classes that they have had. A couple years ago, they pulled apart the name of the classes, and instead of just calling it Project Lead the Way, they decided to break it into some language that would be a little more enticing for students, so apps, robots, and Python, and so on and so forth. All of these classes are Project Lead the Way classes, which is super important because they count as advanced coursework for our students, which is needed for both our innovation career pathways and for our accountability metrics. So one of the things that the state measures is how many of our 11th and 12th graders access advanced coursework. So all of these classes count for that. And one of the things that computer science has done this year is Erin Young, who is our math department chair, has been teaching the 8th grade exploratory for computer science and has had a lot of virtual Q&A with with folks that are in the field, and it has been transformative for students who have been involved. Sometimes computer science can get a bad rap as being a little bit nerdy or a little less relevant, and these experiences have been able to confront that misconception, and students have really found it valuable in terms of how computer science is impacting everybody's lives around us all the time. And then we moved to culinary. It's been a wonderful year in culinary as chef and all of the students have been able to make good use of the renovated kitchen. And they additionally have been able to continue the practice of competing in the Pro Start Challenge. You see here a picture of when they hosted a dinner for town officials. They also have been able to do some in-house catering for events that we have within the school so that there is real-world applicability to that. One of the things that we've been able to do this year is offer mini grants to the Pathways who want to travel and take students out. So at the last school committee, you approved a field trip to Newport Vineyards, and they'll be heading there with the culinary students. Their head chef at Newport Vineyards was so impressed with our students at Pro Start that he reached out to chef and said, hey, why don't you bring students down? They can see the farm to table experience within our kitchens and how we scale it up and down for the different venues we have on our farm and what we're growing and that sort of thing. So we're looking forward to that opportunity. If you move to environmental and agricultural sciences, they have followed in Met's footsteps this year and created a curriculum advisory that has met 2 or 3 times over the course of the year. So they have folks within the industry that weigh in on the curriculum and help lend some credibility to what they're doing and then have them think about it from the perspective of industry. You'll also notice the picture of the SparkNet salamander there from when the governor came. And the bottom left picture was great. So we had for our marine ecology and fisheries management class, we had folks from the whale dolphin conservation group come out and talk to students, and they actually brought a whole bunch of interdisciplinary presenters. And they talked about how right now with the lobster industry, when the lobster traps go down, there's a lot of netting and the whales can get caught in that. So they had an engineer who designed like an inflatable buoy basically that is not tethered, and when folks come in, when you need to, you can like inflate it and it will bring the lobster trap up, and it removes the need for the different lines that can catch whales. So it was super engaging. Students asked amazing questions, and that's another example of how we've been able to use grant money to connect students with industry. Moving on to health and wellness, they are in the process right now of working with a mobile personal training outfit who will come and talk to students and show them the mobile personal training unit and allow students to ask questions about how do you become a personal trainer, how do you manage the business side of that, how do you promote yourself after you get certified. And then the other thing is health and wellness and biotech together have been integral in talking about how to establish a pre-nursing program, not as a separate pathway, but really how to take the classes from both of those and cater to students that are looking at pre-vet, pre-dent, pre-med, and pre-nursing. In manufacturing, engineering, technology, that group has been working to accommodate in-house needs and designing things within the school. Again, the governor came last year, which was a great opportunity to acknowledge the innovation career pathways. And I'll have a good link in just a second to clean energy. So I'll continue on to the last of our existing pathways, and that is our VPA pathway. And you'll see here that the classes have remained the same, but again, we're really working hard to integrate and to make sure that there's an opportunity to connect to the real world. So you can see in the bottom picture there that our students were actually engaged with a local photographer on a food staging experience. So they learned how food is staged before it gets photographed or filmed for movies or for digital print And so in connection with the culinary students, they all heard a lecture and had some hands-on experience, and then they were able to design a menu. The students in the kitchen cooked it, and then the photographer came back in with all sorts of great equipment, and like the students worked in groups, and they were able to stage and then photograph all of the different foods. And they decided to choose breakfast as the theme, so it was fun. I went in there and they were taking raspberries with paintbrushes and going through and putting like oil on it so that it would shine and reflect the light differently, or using makeup sponges to make the French toast and the pancakes look just so. So a really transformative experience there. So that leads us to our last pathway, which is clean energy. You notice that the number of students enrolled in that are TBD, and that is because this is a mashup between two existing pathways, so environmental agricultural sciences and manufacturing engineering technology. And the state has really pushed to make sure that we are incorporating kind of four main areas into clean energy. They're listed there. So the high performance buildings, the net zero grid, the clean transportation, and then offshore wind. So I'm actually the state ambassador for clean energy. And one of the things that we've done is the state contracted with Mass CEC, which is a clean energy focused quasi-government organization. And they created about 19 lesson modules that they want all of the pathways in the state to use. So we were able to get teachers together that are teaching these courses and figure out how to take those 19 modules and embed them within their curriculum. And then the other thing is, at the end of the summer, the beginning of this school year, we were able to, through grant funding, do some really impressive training with KidWind around how to look at physics and design the different blades for offshore wind. And so in this video here, you'll see that the manufacturing engineering technology students actually went through and built something called a wind tunnel. And they're in the process of refining it and using some pretty advanced physics to figure out how to best channel wind. And then they take different airfoil designs that they've printed, and they figure out the blade design and how to catch the most amount of energy that they measure with a multimeter. So you can see that here.
Bill may not be able to see this, but
Yeah.
there we go.
And so they actually took like those 4 box fans, they built the framing for it, and they used the PVC pipe and created that. So it was a great opportunity.
Very cool.
Yeah. So moving on, all in, we have 860, sorry.
Sorry. Trying to manage the multimedia here.
Yeah. I think if you hit escape, maybe.
Yeah, it's not letting me get out.
There we go.
And then give me a second.
Yep.
Jumping around.
You're doing great.
All right, we're back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. So all in, the impact of this is 860 students, or 860 seats. Some students take up more seats, are involved in Pathways classes. And I just want to reiterate that Carver is a leader among high schools for innovative practices and pathways. There have been a number of opportunities that we've had this year to have different schools come and tour, and each of them have had a different thing that they've wanted to see or uncover. Sometimes they want to know how leadership supports this work and how we've been able to make these changes across the board relatively quickly over the past several years. Sometimes they're interested in the student experience and they talk to students, but it's been great that most of the schools on the South Shore have come down to visit, but we've also had some from the Cape and Islands and Western Mass come and look at that piece of it. So I want to give a shout out to all of the Pathways teachers that have been involved in this work, and really the building administration that continues to support this, as well as our industry partners who have helped shape these experiences for us. And that brings me to kind of the end of this, and that is, I don't know how many of you, I might be dating myself, how many of you when you were kids did the Choose Your Own Adventure books? Do you remember those?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not completely off base.
Nope.
All right. So one of the things that we've talked about with pathways is it's great that we have these 8 pathways. They're wonderful. But sometimes we get the question, how come we don't have a pathway in pre-nursing or in business and finance or in political science, yeah, or criminal justice, that sort of thing. And we're at a place right now that I think is going to be pivotal for pathways moving forward. And that is we have enough varied classes that students who don't find a home in one of those 8 pathways but want to pursue kind of a choose your own adventure can do that. We actually have all the classes that we need for business and finance. You can take personal finance, you can take economics, you can take psychology, you can take AP stats, or if you want to do pre-nursing, I gave you the example of how we could lay that out between health and wellness and biotech. So we have like these 8 silo is not the best word, but kind of these 8 pathways or 8 silos that really can become intertwined. So I also want to shout out to our guidance department, who has done an amazing job of creating and helping students enact something called the MyCap, which is required for all students in an innovation career pathway. But actually, again, we're a leader in this. Carver has a MyCap for every student, and that basically allows students to participate in career exploration quizzes and personality tests and stuff like that that will help give them over time an idea of what they might want to do when they graduate. And then they're able to work with their guidance counselor to say, hey, of this huge buffet of classes that we offer at Carver Middle High School, if you're looking to do this, here are some options for you. This is what you can take. And we've also been able, through guidance's help, to expand the amount of independent studies we have. So we have like this amazing independent study this year in chemistry, where a student who wants to go on to study pharmaceuticals next year or the year after, she has been able to do all sorts of presentations and has been able to do research. I attended one of her presentations on antidepressants and what the specific impact of that is in pharma. And it was pretty significant and deep chemistry that she was involved with, and something that you typically don't see in the high school space. So it's been a really awesome opportunity to see those independent study courses take off and have it be married with these other classes that we're offering. So I wanted to share that with you and really quickly do that shout out to guidance and ask if you have any questions.
That was amazing.
That was great.
Meredith, I'll just say thank you. And, obviously, we always want to emphasize that ultimately the big takeaway from Pathways is we've created all of these electives.
Yeah.
And that whole concept of there's just tremendous opportunities for our students at the middle high school. And certainly they can be in a pathway and finish a pathway and get their cord and start moving towards that concept of being future ready and whatever their next step is. But they also just have a wide range of electives that they can almost, as Meredith said, follow their own course or take their own course. So I just think it's been an outstanding, really transformation of what we are able to offer students at Carver Middle High School. So Meredith, thank you for highlighting that this evening.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Excellent.
this was amazing, and thank you for all the work with the grant. And I mean, it's great to see how it's evolving and students are getting more, real world experience and exposure. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Anything you can do to help spread the word too, because we do find that sometimes parents, especially if it's a new student, maybe it's their firstborn and they're coming up through middle school, that even with exploratories, parents don't always know what is involved with Pathways. So we've done a lot of communication, but every little bit helps. So thank you in advance.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that brings us to upcoming events.
Oh, boy.
Of which I'm sure there
There's
is a lot.
tons of, right?
It's a busy time of year. Right, we have prom this week.
Prom this week?
Oh my God, prom is this week?
Yep, Friday.
Friday.
Oh, wow.
All ready.
Let's see, here we go. Let's get it shared.
Quite a bit yet. I'm focused on dance recital. It's all the same weekend. Dance recital, prom. Rocky's Memorial.
Yeah, so obviously we have a lot of things going on just this week. Promenade, 4 o'clock, and it's always a tremendous community event. So we invite the entire community out to the middle high school on Friday to see our pre-prom event called the Promenade. And then we have the junior senior prom following that on Friday evening. We do have the Rocky Gomes celebration of his life that his family is hosting at the middle high school. And at that, one of the interesting parts of that, going back to the pathways, is we are, the school committee, obviously, as we know, at our last meeting, voted to dedicate the middle high school gym in Rocky's honor. And it actually working with the family and Gina and myself and Dave Aruda, we've designed the plaque, and our students are actually building the plaque that's going to go in the gym. So that will be, we'll be able to see that on Saturday, but the MAT classes with, really Dave's lead, and then us working with the family have taken that on. So we'll be excited to show that off on Saturday as part of the celebration of life. There's also still a lot of testing going on. May is a testing month. So if you look at the schedule, there's a lot. Somebody somewhere is taking a test, whether it's AP exams or MCAS exams or NWEA or senior finals. The crazy part is we are getting close to the end of the year for seniors. So when you look at those May days, May 20th is seniors' last day before exams and the final bell ceremony that we do. Then we'll get into final exams. And then certainly at the end of the month of May, we have class day at 9 o'clock on the 28th, the convocation on Thursday the 29th at 7 o'clock, which certainly all the school committee members are invited to both, all of these eventually, but certainly class day, convocation, graduation. So it's going to come quickly. Really, April vacation was late this year. It was about as late as it could be because it was April 1st was a Tuesday, so the third Monday of the month was late. So we're getting right into May this week, and things are going to move rapidly. But there's always tremendous opportunities out there for the community to engage with the school. So we'd encourage you to look at our calendar, see what's happening, and come out and join us at all these great events that are coming up over the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's fast and furious. I don't know where the time has gone, but I think this is the fastest year thus far.
It always feels that way.
Feels very fast
Yeah,
this year.
this year I think especially. Yeah, it's great. It's all good stuff, which is wonderful. Okay, so that brings us to recommendations from the superintendent and the financial update from Ron.
And Ron, I'm sharing. I'm ready to go.
Right, right.
Yeah, a couple of quick updates for you.
Let me put it up here. Sorry.
A couple of quick updates. The first from Washington, you think about educational finance. You probably have read in the papers and your news outlets. Massachusetts is one of a number of states right now that is suing the Department of Education, essentially to put a stay on the department's action they took in March, which was to freeze and claw back remaining ESSER funds, right? Little context for it, so ESSER funds were extended through March of next year ultimately, primarily because a lot of districts across the nation use the funds to do big projects, buy big things, air filtration systems for whole schools, that sort of stuff. And those projects are long, they have a lot of lead time, lead time to both get the invoices in and get the paid. So that's ongoing right now. Massachusetts joined a number of those. I've given you some background on there. You got your hyperlinks in your memo as well. Big picture, Carver's not involved in this, frankly. And when you look at the drill down in Massachusetts in general, the large majority of the impacted districts are large urban districts who have big projects for big schools, right? Which makes sense. Something like 41 million, 42 million in Springfield alone. Yeah, so just gives you a sense of the scale of it. But if you're reading and you're wondering, how does this impact Carver? Big picture, we're not impacted at all. We'll keep an eye on it and see if that trickles down to other grants. Look at Beacon Hill in terms of educational finance. 2 quick updates. As you may have seen, House Ways and Means has taken up the 26 budget. I think they actually were supposed to vote on it yesterday. Kind of take a look at that. But I've given you an update on the bill as it stands. It's very much in line with what the governor has, which is generally good for education across the Commonwealth. Most importantly, sort of in line with the governor's stance on the SOA. Quick reminder, primer for those who aren't up on it. The SOA is wonderful, except that for about 2/3 of the districts, Carver being one of them, we essentially get minimum aid. It's a small number of dollars per kiddo. The governor's budget and the House budget increases that ever so slightly, but some is better than none, right? I've got a quick drill down on the entire bill there if you want to dig into it, and we'll keep you posted once that budget hopefully passes and gets in before July 1 if possible. And lastly, I'm sure you've read, Board of Education recently voted to recommend a new commissioner, Pedro Martinez, from Chicago. He's the previous CEO in the Chicago Public Schools, also served down in San Antonio. I gave you a link on his bio and then the finalists from the group. And lastly today is just your Q4 warrants. We're getting close to the end of the school year. Probably at your next meeting and thereafter, we'll do a bunch of transfers to start to close up the school year. But my request to the committee tonight is simply to vote our warrants as you see them there, and I'll answer your questions.
Great, thank you very much. Anyone have any questions? Okay.
Okay, I move that we approve the financial report as presented this evening, including acceptance of the warrant.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Nemi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullen, aye.
Okay, that brings us to, thank you very much, Ron.
Thanks,
We
Ron.
appreciate the information and the drill downs. Reed's Board of Directors appointment.
So as a member of the Reed's Collaborative, the school committee has to appoint someone to serve on the board of directors. Historically, the superintendent has served on the board. I would be glad to continue in my role on the Reed Board of Directors and would entertain a motion to that extent.
Okay. I move that we appoint Scott Neef, Superintendent of the Carver Public Schools, as the Carver School Committee's representative on the Reed's Board of Directors.
I second.
Excellent, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Nemi, aye.
Stephanie
Katie.
Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullen, aye.
The only thing I'd add on to that is that I know at our last meeting we talked about Reed's and the discussion. We had an upcoming board meeting about the purchase of the facility in Norton. So the board of directors did actually end up voting unanimously to approve the purchase, to move forward on the purchase of that building in Norton.
Perfect.
So the deaf and hard of hearing program will be moving into that building. Hopefully, they'll be ready to go for September 1st.
Oh, fantastic. Great news.
That's excellent. That was really meant to be. Okay, so that brings us to field trips. We have a field trip, marine ecology, to the
cool.
Bahamas in June.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. So we just need to move.
You have just a motion to
Yep,
approve.
that's
Yep.
fine. I move that we approve the Marine Ecology Bahamas trip for June 2026.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Nemi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullen, aye.
Excellent. Okay, so that brings us to reports from the school committee. And we're circling back to the superintendent's evaluation. Sorry, I'm just trying to sign this so it's done, so I can give this back so we can go through the channels. So this evening, we need to vote on the ratings for each one of the superintendent's goals, the 4 standards, and then the overall rating of the evaluation. I know I read some of this last time. I will, let's start with the goals.
Okay.
This is more paper than I've had in front of me, and I don't even know how long. Okay, so the first is a professional practice goal. I'll read the summary. Clearly, this was presented to us by Superintendent Neef, so this is written in his person. So it says I, not meaning me, meaning Superintendent Neef. I will do my best to make that adjustment as I read. In order to improve my leadership skills, I will participate in the Soul of Leadership course sponsored by the MSAA as measured by participation in 3 in-person full days of training and 5 virtual 1-hour training sessions. The program provides educational leaders with tools and skills to build relational trust and lead learning communities where teachers thrive, collaborate, and challenge each other to do their best work, and where students feel seen, heard, inspired, and free to be joyful, successful learners. With key actions being participate in all a full-day professional development, participate in 5 virtual 1-hour training sessions, use tools provided by the program to augment and improve his facilitation of meetings throughout the district. That is professional practice goal. Okay. District improvement goal. In order to ensure the key vision and strategic goals of the educational blueprint are aligned with the needs of the district and community, he will go through a process to evaluate and, if appropriate, revise the document. Key actions: hold meetings throughout the school year with all stakeholders to identify strengths of the system, the most critical areas of improvement, and areas that require further inquiry. Analyze the data from the meetings to draw conclusions on possible revisions to the educational blueprint. Have the administrative leadership team review possible revisions. Have the school committee review possible revisions and present the revised educational blueprint to the school committee. So the first one was,
Professional practice.
yep. No, I was just going to look at, okay, so that was,
I don't know if it makes sense to take them up one at a time.
yeah,
that's
the
what I was
first one
And
was.
so go back
right,
and just go back to the
then vote
professional
each one.
practice and
Yeah.
vote
Okay,
each
So
one as we
can I
go.
just make a
Sure.
motion? Okay,
The rating for the professional practice goal was met.
okay.
That was the recommendation of the
Subcommittee.
subcommittee.
Yes, sorry.
Okay. So I move that we approve the professional practice goal as presented this evening.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Okay, so the second one that I read, my apologies, is the district improvement goal, which was significant progress, was the rating.
Okay. I move that we approve the, sorry, say that again.
Should probably call it the.
District improvement goal
improvement goal.
as presented this evening.
Yeah, and I would say you should say the rating,
Oh,
as a
as
rating of
a significant improvement, with the rating of significant.
progress.
Progress.
Thank you.
Jackie Lake Eye. We do
I
now.
second.
Just kidding.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
It really does feel like June. Okay, so next we have,
We're all a mess after April
right, I
vacation,
know,
think.
right, student learning goal. In order to improve the number of students meeting expectations on the MCAS by an average of 5 to 10% across all grade levels and subjects, we will continue to evaluate curriculum alignment, instructional practices, student attendance, and students' attitudes and effort on the test as measured by the spring 2025 MCAS scores. Key actions. In October, we will establish teams of teachers to review and evaluate our 2024 spring MCAS scores. The administration will continue to focus on improving students' attendance to reduce the number of students that are chronically absent. Support the second year of implementation of the illustrative math program at the middle high school. Support the implementation of units of study writing at the elementary school. Provide professional development for teachers on continuing to shift to students-centered learning. And that was also significant progress.
I move that we approve the
Student learning.
student learning goal with the rating of significant progress.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent. Okay, so next, the 4 standards. Standard number 1 is instructional leadership. And the overall rating for that was proficient. Do you want us to take these individually also?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to take those
Okay.
individually than the overall individually.
Okay. So, standard 1, instructional leadership.
Okay, thank you. I move that we approve standard 1 instructional leadership with the rating of proficient as presented this evening.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Okay, next we have management and operations, which was rated proficient.
I move that we approve the management
And operations.
and operations goal with the rating of proficient as presented this evening.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent. So next we have standard 3, which is family and community engagement, which was also rated proficient.
I move that we approve the standard 3,
Family and
family and community engagement with the rating of proficient as presented this evening.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent. That brings us to standard 4, which is professional culture, which also had a rating of proficient.
I move that we approve standard 4 rating culture, right?
Professional culture.
Professional culture
Yep.
with the rating of proficient as presented this evening.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Katie
Steph-
Sullivan.
oh, sorry, Stephanie
No,
Clarity,
I
aye.
stepped over you. Katie Sullivan, aye. Sorry.
That's okay.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent. So the overall rating is proficient. And the progress towards goals was significant progress as the overall rating, which is the last thing that we need to vote. Can we do those together, or do you want us to vote each?
So you
individual?
actually technically don't have to vote. The overall rating is
Okay.
is all encompassing of
Okay.
the goals and the standards.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
So it's just a one vote on the overall rating.
Okay,
I move that we approve the overall rating of proficient as presented this evening.
I second.
we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Mimi, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
Bill Cullum, aye.
Excellent.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Apologize for the delay. Okay, so I reached out to Sean Costello, who was our new field rep for the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, to see if he would be available to put together our summer retreat for us, so we can update our goals. And I was reviewing our protocols, which we usually read tonight, and we haven't updated them in a while. So I would also like us to work on that, and then bring them back and vote them, our first official meeting of the 2020, I can't even, 2025, 2026 school year. So I would like us all collectively to work on that. I think what we have is great, but I think it can be better. So I would like to try to see if we can put together a date for us to get together. We can be flexible, we can do it during the week, we can do it on a weekend morning. I know some of us have weekend jobs and commitments and vacations and those types of things. Sean's really great, he brings a lot of experience with him, and I think you will all learn something from him very quickly.
Okay.
So, do we want to aim for, when is our, wait a minute, when do we start? Do we have a meeting in August?
We do.
Yes, we do.
We haven't set the calendar for next year yet.
Okay. Is that
We
what I do
usually,
next?
we actually usually bring that to the June meeting.
June,
And we'll
okay.
set the calendar. But my guess is it will be probably, we'll probably propose August 18th would be my guess.
Okay, so before
August 18th would be the
Yeah.
first one.
Okay.
School starts the next Monday. So it's usually either the week
Okay.
before school starts or 2 weeks before school
Okay.
starts. So it'll either be the 11th or the 18th.
Okay.
My guess would be the 18th is what we'll propose.
Okay, do we want to stick with doing it on a Monday night?
Yes, please.
Yes, please, that would be good.
Okay, so do we want to say, is August 4th okay for everyone?
I was going to say the one week I
Oh, I
would
know.
like to not do is the
Is
week
that
of
week?
August 4th.
Okay,
I think, and so I don't have,
Sixth grade orientation.
I don't have an official vacation planned yet, but we're looking at that week.
I get it, totally get it.
yep. Okay,
So
so let's
is
see.
there
I don't know if you want to do
Between
2
those
weeks in a
two?
row, if you want to do the 11th.
You could do August 11th.
I can do the 11th.
I could do the 11th. too.
Can everyone do the 11th?
Yeah.
Okay,
And now we'll just make our first meeting the 18th.
There you go.
So the August 11th, and when we build the calendar, we'll plan the first full meeting on August 18th.
okay.
What time are we meeting? 6?
6.
Is 6 o'clock okay for everyone? And we can meet a little earlier if you want. I don't expect it to be, I'm not trying to make it a late night, but what I would like to do, if the committee agrees, is to have some other type of get-together during the school year, where we can just visit, catch up, see what's going on, see if there are any things that we need to fine-tune in terms of our goals.
Okay.
So, see how things are going, do a self-assessment, that kind of fun stuff. All right, so I will let Sean know that we have a date picked out, and I will let everyone know where it's gonna be. It's gonna be at central office, or if we're gonna go outside the box. Okay, next, what do we have? Oh, we have location of school committee meetings. I had reached out to the town administrator based on the vote that was taken at town meeting. Sorry, I just want to try to find that. Right.
And I spoke to Glenn as well to try to get some background on this, so I
Okay.
could share that if that's
Sure,
okay.
absolutely, that'd be great.
So my understanding, through talking with the town administrator, is that, so there was a law passed in July of 2024 called the Enact Modernizing Firearms Laws. And that prior to that being passed by the state legislature, that someone who had a license to carry could carry a gun in town buildings, except for schools. So there's always been a prohibition. I don't know what it exactly said, but there's always been a prohibition in terms of carrying a gun on school property. And that law actually went into effect in September. So the law passed in, I was trying to be clear, but I'm not being very clear. So prior to the passage of the law, someone who had a license to carry could carry their firearm onto town property in town buildings. When the law was passed, it went into effect in September. So starting in September of 2024, or about 8 or 9 months ago, then that law did not allow someone with a license to carry their firearm onto town property. But then, obviously, at town meeting, there was a provision in the law that allowed towns to, in essence, opt out of the law. And so this was given to each town, and many towns have had this on their town meeting warrant. Carver had it on their town meeting warrant, and the town did vote at town meeting for Carver to opt out of that portion of the law. So you're not opting out of the entire law, because this law is actually pretty comprehensive. If you pull it up, it's pretty long. There's a lot of pieces to this. It's not only about carrying firearms in town buildings. It's about ghost guns and 3D printed guns, and there's all kinds of different parts of this law. So the town building piece is just one small segment of it, and that's what the town has the ability to opt out of. So the town of Carver did vote to opt out of that law, which actually returns us to the same place we were in July of 2024, or returns us to the same place we were in last year when we met here in April. But I know that has brought some concern. The committee wanted to discuss whether based on Carver opting out of the law, whether you wanted to continue to meet in town hall or seek location within the school buildings, where someone, obviously within the school building, someone who had a license to carry would not be allowed to bring their gun into the school building. That sets the stage, I think.
Yes,
I think that answers the
thank
question.
you. Yeah, and I was trying to look quick to see if I didn't see an agenda for the select board's next meeting. The town administrator did say that the select board will be voting on a policy, because my thought was, okay,
Yeah, I think that second part of the law is that the select board has to work with the town, with the chief of police, to establish, if you opt out, you have to establish which buildings you can carry a firearm and which you can't. So we don't know for 100% sure that but my sense is from the town vote that they would allow someone to carry in town hall.
Into town hall.
yep. Yeah, so it was just something that I wanted to speak about and have us discuss, because we invite families and students and staff to come to our meetings. And I'm not sure how many people knew that it was acceptable prior to that law being passed versus now. But since it's, going around to all town meetings and all communities are voting it, I just felt that it was a change that I just wanted us to discuss. I mean, I know historically we haven't had great success with sound. No offense to Area 58 at the middle high school. So I know that part of the moving here was having this great opportunity way back.
We moved here originally when the year I became superintendent. My first year as superintendent, we met over actually at the central office building. That's where the school committee meetings were for many years.
Yeah.
And there a couple of issues with that was, number one, we were using the school's sound, but there's not a sound set up at the central office building, so school staff always had to bring the soundboard over, bring the mics, do a setup, so that was taking custodial time to do that for all school committee meetings, and then the next day to break it down. And then second, obviously Area 58, they taped them, they taped the meetings, but they couldn't go live. So the meetings could not be broadcast live. So moving here, did two things for us. You know, took away that custodial piece in terms of having to break down and set up sound for all the meetings. Actually gave a nicer space than my central office building, allowed for more people to actually attend in person because, you know, we've been doing a lot more recognitions and this place gets pretty crowded. So I don't even think central office would be an option. I think it would have to be in the buildings, in one of the buildings someplace. That's my perspective. Yeah, certainly the committee could discuss that. And you know, the only place that Area 58 can also go live besides here is in the auditorium. And that's where we've had problems with sound. We've struggled sometimes with sound in the auditorium. But you know, certainly if the school committee voted to not do the auditorium and meet someplace else, Area 58 could come and record the meetings and replay them on, you know, on Area 58 and I just hope that they can broadcast live.
Yep. Yeah, so it was just something that I thought we should have a discussion about, just for transparency purposes, because like I said, I know it was a recent change, but I'm not sure how many people in the community knew about the change or if they anyone would have concerns. I know that we all hope we never go back to COVID times, but those were some, you know, pretty precarious situations that we found ourselves in then. That's never going to happen again, right? Knock on wood. So just something I thought we should discuss, like I said, for transparency. I mean, I personally would love to see us have a meeting, you know, at least once during the year at the elementary school, maybe one at the middle high school, you know, especially when we're doing some of the larger recognitions, like when we recognize.
Yeah, because sometimes the rooms don't fit
Yeah,
well in
there's
here.
not enough room for everyone to be in here. So I just wanted to get everyone's input and see what everyone thought. Like, will the new library project be done over the summer? Do you guys have a timeline for that yet?
No, we don't have an official timeline for
Okay.
that yet. So I don't know if we could say that the library will be ready for us to meet in there
Okay, you're gonna get to order furniture and all.
in,
I know there's a lot that's gonna go into that.
September.
But yeah, I was just thinking that would be, like, that might be a nice place to have one of our meetings one night, hopefully. Draw in a loud crowd, you know, come see the revamp there. So, does anyone have anything they'd like to add?
I like having them here. I do. I think it's easier for a lot of people to have them here.
Yeah, and I think that, like, your concern was during COVID, how contentious the meetings got. And I wasn't on the school committee, so I can't really speak to that. But people were allowed to carry into the building at that point, and it was fine. And I think that in a town like Carver, there probably are a little bit more than the state average of 14.7 to 15% of people, and I think we're a rural town, and I think people that do have the guns in town have followed hopefully the proper procedures, and I don't think we're in any more danger than we were a year ago before this was enacted. And I think if you live in Carver, then you should be aware that this did pass at town meeting.
Yep.
So I think that we are okay to continue here.
I kind of agree with that. I feel that they were carrying in either way. Most likely, we either knew or we didn't know. And I mean, how long did that law last? From September to April, basically. So it's only really been enacted since September of 2024,
Right.
correct?
Right, since
So-
this school year.
Yeah.
Nothing really changes.
Yeah, because
Honestly.
if you go to any public building, not town building, but if you're walking into Walmart, you don't know who has a license to conceal. So just being out in public. Like, my only concern is schools, like the actual school buildings. But outside of that, I don't think we can really, like, be that much of a watchdog.
I struggle with the middle school and the auditorium. The sound is terrible. It's not comfortable. And it's honestly, it's weird because it's kind of like we're on display here, but it's a little bit of a bigger venue. It's not the most comfortable place in the world. I don't mind doing it for the big events and things like that. I have no problem with that. But I'm just saying that literally that law was only enacted for 6 months, not even. And we wouldn't know either way, honestly, if they're following the proper procedures, which it seems, since we haven't had any incidents, they are following the proper procedures.
Yes.
I mean, I feel okay to continue here.
Okay. Bill, do you have anything you want to add?
I don't have anything new to add.
Okay.
I do think it's a pretty cool idea to incorporate the schools in our meetings. You know, like you said, maybe one at the middle elementary and one at the middle high school for certain occasions. The library sounds like a great idea. But I don't have any real strong feelings about this demo.
Okay, great. I appreciate everyone's input. Thank you very much. I don't think we need a motion.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion or a vote unless you're going to make,
unless
a change. I don't think you need a motion or
All
a vote.
right. So with that, that is the end of our agenda. Unless anyone has anything they want to report as a member of the school committee. Quickly, I wanted to ask, do we have any students attending Day on the Hill?
We do not at
We
this
do
time.
not. I know it's AP exam.
And I
week,
guess
so
we
it's
want to
really
check
tough.
on school committee members too. Right now, I think it might just be you and I, Stephanie.
Day in the Hill's on Monday, right?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So you're not going?
I cannot.
So,
Okay.
no problem.
No.
Working.
Yeah, but I could take a personal day. Because I thought Kelly was going to go.
I was going to go until this dental emergency happened, and I've now been out of the office more than I would like just to handle the broken tooth. So I will not get approved for that day
Got it.
because I was out today.
Okay. Bill, did you have any availability or interest in attending?
I know I was looking into it, but I forgot what the date was. Could you remind me?
Yes, it's May 6th, Tuesday, May
Yeah,
6th.
next Tuesday,
Next
Bill.
Tuesday.
Oh yeah, no, I can't do next week. I'm
Which
rolling
how,
right now.
I don't know how May is like,
It's already.
Came so quickly.
it's just
All right,
crazy.
I mean-
But it's up to you, no pressure.
That's right, yeah,
No
go ahead.
pressure.
I would rather save my personal day this year for something else, if that's okay with you guys. Like,
Yep.
I just not really looking forward to that visit with.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes, I understand. I understand completely. Well, if any of you have anything that you would like either myself or Mr. Neve to address while we're there, just send us an email and let us know. I mean, otherwise we'll be, advocating on behalf of education, public education. So, okay, so I hope everyone attends all these amazing events that we have coming up across our campuses. I hope everyone has a safe and happy prom this weekend. Go Carver Crusaders. I know the teams are out there playing all kinds of sports. And enjoy spring. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add? If not, if someone would like to make a motion to adjourn, that would be great.
Okay, I move that we adjourn the April 29th, 2024 school committee meeting.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Jackie Lake Eye.
Kelly Neamy, aye.
Stephanie Clarity, aye.
Katie Sullivan, aye.
No comment, aye.
Excellent. We are adjourned at 7:15 p.m. Hooray. Thank you, everyone.
You only need